Good evening, everyone. Hope you're having a nice bank holiday. I just thought I was going to take you through a few things. So first of all, we've got a lot of people attending our online classes, which is amazing. I think this week we're going to probably have about 140 people attending our online classes, which is going to be brilliant. Some of these people are super fit, some of them not so fit, some people exercising for the first time. In our workouts, they can be quite tough. It's all bodyweight exercises, okay? So there's no equipment involved. So what I thought I'd do is take you through 5 exercises. The normal version that we do, like the most basic, a way to make it harder, and a way to make it easier. Okay, so what I'll take you through first, I'll take you through 5 exercises, and if you want to put any comments in, then I can look at the comments and I can perhaps show you how to adapt an exercise that you're not sure on, depending on, you might have like a knee injury or a back injury or a bad arm, and I can show you how to do it differently, okay? So first one we're going to do, let me just set this up 1 second, then we go straight in. Okay. So first one we're going to do, we're going to go into plank position, okay? So I'm going to show you a plank position. I'm just getting my phone up so I can see if there are any comments on here. First of all, let me just set this up once. There we go. Okay. So first of all, we're going to go into plank position. So plank position, the one we do on elbows. Okay. So we do an elbow plank position. So this position. So this is our most basic, the way we do it. Okay. You can do it like this on your elbows, nice and strong, pulling through your stomach. You can do it on your hands. Okay. So a full plank on your hands. You say if you're perhaps find this a bit hard, there is ways to make it easier. So one way you can do it, so plank position on elbows, you can go onto your knees. So a knee plank position. From here, you're still aiming to pull in through your stomach. Okay, so this will make it a lot easier. Say if you've got perhaps not a strong core, you might not be as strong in the upper body. So this is the version you can do. If you want to make it harder, so say you're feeling pretty fit and you want to make it a little bit harder. So from here on your toes, I would take your body weight forwards, okay? So taking your body weight further forwards, you're putting your weight onto your toes, leaning forwards more, pulling through the stomach. So that's how you make it harder. That's exercise number 1. Exercise number 2, similar position. So we go press ups. So the press up position, the one you might usually see is a full press up. So from here, going down, back up, so a full press up. Okay, so how can you make this easier and make it suit you? So first of all, you could go onto knees. Okay, so onto knees, this position, you're still trying to keep your stomach to almost hit the floor, chest down to there. That's an easier version of a press up. So if you can't do a full press up, this one might be for you. But perhaps maybe you're finding that a bit too easy and you want to make it harder. You might be taking part in one of our classes and then want to make it a little bit tougher. So if you find the press ups easy, you can go narrow. You see my hands are quite close together. I keep my elbows tucked to my sides. For me, this is the hardest one. So there. Okay, so keep my elbows nice and tight. For me, this is much harder than a normal press up. So this might be an option for you if you're feeling super fit. If not so much, then you might be going for the on the knees, okay? Okay, so there's 2 exercises so far. Please comment if you'd like me to do an exercise and show you an alternative. I'll take you through a couple more. So far, we've done a plank and a press up. Different ways to do a plank, different ways to do a press up to push yourself. The next one we're going to do, so a mountain climber. So mountain climber, the way we would do it, hands go on the floor, alternating knees into chest. Okay, so that's a mountain climber, or alternating squat thrust. So what I'd say is some people can't do this because maybe it's they've got a bad back or they might struggle with other things like the weight on their arms. So what I would suggest is you find yourself either a wall or a chair, a step, a bench, okay? Just take yourself a little bit higher. So you might start off in this position, so you're a bit higher. From here, you can easily drive your knees in towards your chest. It makes that a little bit easier. Okay, so making your upper body a little bit higher makes it less stress on your back, maybe less stress on your arms. Okay, so that's the way you can do that. So a squat thrust, alternating squat thrust, mountain climber, which we do like this. You can make it easier by going onto a wall, a step, a chair, okay, to make it a little bit easier. So next up, so crawl outs next. Moira, Let me see if you comment. So Maura wants to see burpees. Burpees number 5, okay? Don't worry, burpees number 5. So crawl outs is next. What we do crawl out onto elbows, come back, jump up, okay? So that's probably our standard, most used exercise, that sort of format. The way you do that is from standing, you crawl forwards, onto elbows, onto hands, crawl back, jumping up. So it's a crawl forwards, onto elbows, onto hands, crawl back, jump up, okay? So there's a few things you might not be able to do. One of them might be that upper body strength might not be there. Another one might be that you struggle with your core strength and you're crawling out. Another might be the jump at the end. It might be too much for you, the impact. There's lots of ways we can break this down. So our normal version, again, the way we do it, elbows come back, jump up. We go forwards, elbows, back, jump up, okay? So say your upper body's not as strong and you can't make it onto your elbows, you could just crawl forwards, high plank position, crawl back, jump up, okay? So you miss out the elbows, makes it a little bit easier on the upper body. Okay, the next one you could do is no jump. So if your knees can't take it or ankles can't take it, you could crawl forwards, from here, crawl back, and then just stand up. So it's crawl out, crawl back, stand up, okay? So that could be the most basic version. You could do very similar if you're strong in the upper body, maybe you've got a bad knee, you could crawl forwards, elbows, back, crawl back, stand up, okay? So there's lots of options. So when we do classes, we might see an online workout, you can change it to suit you depending on what injuries you might have, okay? So you can cut out the upper body more, you can save the legs, maybe save the knees, okay? So there's lots of ways you can change it. Say if you're feeling super fit and you want to make it harder, so what you can do, crawling forwards, you could go press up, crawl back, jump up, okay? So that's a way to make it harder. If you're feeling really fit and you're feeling really strong, a way to do it if you really want to go for it, you're adding a clap. So you crawl forwards, from here, clap, press up, crawl back, jump up, okay? That's another way you can do our crawling out onto elbows, come back, jumping up. Okay, so next up, so burpees. So this is one that we do quite often in our classes, burpees, usually towards the end. It's a bit of a finisher, okay? So burpee is always a good one to end on. Great one to get the heart rate up. There's lots of ways to do a burpee. The most common, would you say, for say CrossFitters and sort of the fittest people, would be a chest to floor burpee. So we start off with a chest to floor burpee. So chest to floor burpee is your hands go on the floor, legs jump back, laying down, push yourself up, legs jump in, jump up, okay? So legs back, lay yourself down, chest to floor, jump your legs in, jump up. So that's a chest to floor burpee. So I'm going to make this a little bit easier. Say if you're not as strong on the upper body, you can cut out the chest to floor. So a way to do it would be hands go on the floor, legs jump back, legs jump in, jump up. So legs back, legs in, jump up. So there's no chest to floor on that one. So that will make it a little bit easier on the upper body. Say if you're struggling with that one as well, but you want to give them a try, another way you can do it is you can take all the impact out. You go hands on the floor, step a leg back, step a leg back, step a leg in, stand up, okay? So leg back, in, up. So you can still get your heart rate up. You can still take part in the burpees, doing something different, okay? You don't have to do squats when someone else is doing burpees. You can do it like this, okay? Maybe it might be that you struggle with getting the hands on the floor, bit too much for your back, maybe. So we can change that as well. Again, just like the alternating squat thrust we did earlier, the mountain climber, we can change it by using a wall or use a chair, a bench, okay? So whatever you're laying around to make yourself a little bit higher. Say you want to do a burpee, but you just can't get on the floor. You're okay to jump, okay? You can use a wall maybe. From here, legs back, legs in, just jumping up. So legs back, legs in, jumping up, so just like that. So as soon as I go that little bit higher, using a small wall, it takes all the pressure off my back. It means I don't have to go down to the floor so hard, okay? So it stops you maybe jarring my back. Takes a bit of weight off the shoulders as well if you've got a bad shoulder. So that's a way you can do a burpee and make it a little bit easier, okay? At any point, if you have any exercises you want me to show you, I can show you an alternative. You might be taking part in our classes. It might be just that you're following the online training program. You've seen videos on Instagram, Facebook, and there's exercise in there that you can't do because it's too hardcore. Message in the comments below, and I'll show you how to do it. If they're not, even if you're watching this not live, you can still message and I'll probably contact you and show you how to do it, okay? I did have a question earlier from Alison. So Alison said, can you show me how to do a lunge because my knee hurts when I do a front lunge? So front lunges can be difficult on the knees, okay? So the reason for that is, so when you do a front lunge, you're stepping forward, so all the weight is going onto mainly the front leg. So see, as soon as I step my foot off the floor, I'm having to put all my weight onto it and it hits the floor, okay? So imagine here, there's no control. As soon as it hits the floor, the stability and all the weight goes into the front leg, okay? And what you might end up doing is really leaning into it. Now I'm leaning into it, I can feel it in my knee, and I'm pushing off, which goes through my knee. So here I'm leaning into it too much, and I'm pushing off. So I'm almost pushing off through my toes, which makes my knee hurt, okay? So that might be one thing that you're doing that might not be so good, is that you're leaning forward too much, your chest is down, you see my foot, my heel's off the ground, so you're leaning forward too much, and now from here I have to push back from my toes. So if that's you, that could be why your knee's hurting. So it could be here too much, pushing back. What you need to do is when you step forward, it does need to be quite a big step. So you don't want your knee to go in front of your front toe, okay? You want to keep your heel on the floor, so your weight goes through your heel and through your big toe. So from here, I'm more here, and I'm just stepping back. So I'm there, step back. So my heel almost hits the floor, big toe, my weight goes through that front leg, like so, okay? Rather than stepping in all the way on the front here and then pushing back. There's too much weight going forward. There's too much weight on the knees. Okay, you do not want to put too much weight going forward. Take your time with it. Chest up. There, pushing back. But say, for example, you've tried that and you're still getting problems with your knees and you're really struggling. There is an alternative to a front lunge, which is a reverse lunge. So a reverse lunge, you step back, okay, instead, okay, so a reverse lunge, you're stepping back instead. So the reason this is better is because say you've got all your weight on your front foot, okay, you're keeping your weight on that front foot. So this, you're not falling into it. From here, keeping your weight on that front foot, you're just stepping back for balance. Okay, so it's just for balance. All the weight's staying here. I'm already stable. You can already see my chest is up. Okay, I'm keeping all my weight on that foot and I'm taking a big step. So a big step back, keeping my chest up, means this front leg's working better. Quad, glutes, hamstrings are firing. I'm not going that way, okay? So my weight's back. So I'm stepping back here. This back leg's more for balance. Front leg is where the strength's coming from, okay? So you can alternate sides with a reverse lunge. Okay, so if you struggle with lunges, a reverse lunge might be better for you, especially if you've got bad knees, okay? Reverse lunge is so much better. Or if you don't want to do that, split lunge, okay? Split squat, step forwards. From here, you're already in your position, very stable, going down, back up, keeping my chest up. This foot stable, the knee stable. That might be better for you as well, okay? So Alison, hopefully you're watching that, so you can see which lunge you can give a try. I'd recommend trying the reverse lunge. If you have no problems with that, there's nothing wrong with using a reverse lunge instead of a front lunge, okay? So you get loads out of that for your body without the knee pain. So let's see if we've got anyone else wanting to see all alternatives. A few more people joining us. Okay. Moira asked for the burpees. I've shown you that. So what I'm doing, I was just showing people 5 exercises that you can do that are a little bit easier than the normal version and a little bit harder. Okay, so 5 exercises you can do. Just in case you are taking part in online classes or you've seen a video on Instagram or Facebook, you can make the exercise a little bit easier, which might make it better for you if you've got a bad knee, bad shoulder, bad back, maybe not so fit. So if you've got any questions on any exercises, please post them now. See quite a few of you watching, waiting for me to move. So Nikki, I can see you on there. Eugenie, hello. So the 5 exercises I've run through have been plank, press up, mountain climbers, out to elbows, come back, jump up, and burpees so far. So if you've got any questions about any alternatives to any exercises, please post now. If not, don't worry, I'm just going to talk a bit more. So this week, if you've only just realised, we're having a trial week for online classes. So this week we've got 130 people trying our online classes, which is amazing. Some super fit, some not so fit. So this is the reason for doing this video. So hopefully they can ask some questions, or a few of these exercises have already been asked about. And they can watch it back later if they need to. So 5 exercises I've gone through: plank, press up, mountain climbers, crawl outs, and burpees, chest to floor. If you've got any questions about any exercises, I've also gone through the lunge for Alison. Okay, lunges that protect my poor old knees, Eugenie. So lunges, Eugenie, let me just quickly recap what I've just talked about. Alison also asked about lunges. She said when she goes into a front lunge, okay, it's too much pain on her right knee. So she's got maybe an old knee injury. She gets too much pain in the right knee when she steps forwards. So the right lunges, let me quickly show you through it again. So when you step forward, if you're doing it maybe not correctly, maybe you're not doing it just about right, you might be putting all your weight into it when you step forward and pushing back. So all my weight's going forward, my weight's going onto my toes, my heel's off the ground, my step might not be so big, my knee's gone in front of my toes, which isn't good, and then I'm pushing back. So I'm here, forward, pushing back, because my weight's going forward too much. So what you need to do, try step forward, keep your chest up here. So you drop down a bit better there. Or what I'd suggest is do an alternative to reverse lunge. For me, a reverse lunge is much better than a lunge for the knees, okay? So reverse lunge, you stand here. The reason this is better, your weight on that front foot is stable. So you step back, your back leg is for balance. Back leg's for balance, big step. This foot's stable, it's not having to move. You're not shifting your weight forward and back. Just keep it nice and stable, keeping your chest up, okay? So that is the lunge I'd recommend you do. So lunges, it would be a reverse lunge, alternating sides. Okay, so you alternate sides there. Or a split squat, which is staying on the same side, up and down, okay? So what you don't end up doing is you don't end up with that front knee going over the toes. That's much better for your knees. Hopefully that answered your question, Eugenie. So for you, reverse lunges would be much better than a front lunge, okay? Nikki Clark, is there any particular technique for a side lunge, please? Side lunge, so the thing is with a side lunge is you do need to be quite flexible in your inner thighs, quite strong on the outer leg. So when you step out to a side lunge, I put all my weight onto this out leg, so here, all my weight's onto it, I'm there. So what I'm doing, I'm actually sitting back. So again, I'm not letting my knee go forwards onto my toes, I'm letting it go onto my heels. So it might be hard for you to see that, but when I'm here, I'm sitting back. That's my reverse lunge. I'm sitting back into it. So I'm trying to keep my chest up, but from here, I sit back into this leg. So all my weight goes onto this leg and I'm sitting back. Sit back, sit back. Okay, so I'm getting a decent sized step. The most important thing is that I sit back so I get glutes, quads, hamstrings working. If I step to the side, go onto my toe, so I'm here, you see the knee comes under pressure straight away. That's not good. Okay, so you do not want that knee to come under pressure. You want to step out to the side, back here, nice and strong. Lots of weight on this leg, here. So I'm sitting back, so bum goes back, okay? So bum goes back instead of knee goes forward. Okay. Yep, Eugenie, so reverse lunges for you, perfect. Give those a try next time and see if they help. I'm pretty confident they will do. Main thing is take a big step and all the weight on the front foot, okay? Karina, slightly more difficult version of sit-ups. Okay, so difficult version of sit-ups. So I always do sit-ups in all my live classes because it's the first exercise to do during the ab circuit for me. And it sort of gets everyone switched on into what we're doing next, which is abs, okay? So sit-up is the most basic one that everyone knows. So sit-ups, what you're talking about, will be from here, sitting up to the top, back down. Okay, so that's your sit-up. Some people who can't sit all the way to the top and back down will go for a crunch. Just touch the top of the knees. Okay, so if you wanted to make it harder, there's lots of things you can do. So first of all, tempo. Tempo is one. So you can take it normal on the way up and you can control it slower than normal on the way down. Okay, so controlling the tempo on the way down, nice and steady, and that will get the stomach muscles working harder. Another thing you can do is you can sit up all the way to the top, twist both ways, back down, sit to the top, twist both ways, back down. Okay, so if you want to make a twist involved, you might get your obliques involved. Okay, it's just another way of doing it. So you got your crunch, the knees, most basic. Number 2 is your sit-ups all the way to top, all the way back down. Number 3, you can change the tempo. So really concentrate on the way down, taking it slow, really putting them through your stomach. Number 3, sit up to top, twist both ways, back down, okay? That's 4 different ways you can do a sit-up, from the most easiest to the hardest. Anybody else? Let's have a look. Did you run out of fence paint? Yes. Yes, unfortunately we painted all the fences and then the fence fell down. But we've had a delivery from Wix today with the new fence paint, so that will be my job tomorrow. We're spraying that bit of fence. Very annoying. I'm surprised no one's mentioned that before, to be honest. Good spot. Jamie Knights, thank you. And I have got a sprayer as well, even easier. Thank God for that. Okay. Legs up and down says it always make my back work rather than the core. Okay, so leg raisers I think you're talking about. So leg raisers, so this is quite an intense lower stomach exercise. So perhaps your lower stomach muscles aren't as strong. You might find you start to engage your back instead. And all you're doing is pulling on your back rather than strengthening this area. So what you need to do is make it just that little bit easier. Okay, if you make it just that little bit easier, you might find actually you gain more from doing it. It's all about feeling the right area. So leg raisers you're talking about are from here, dropping your legs down, back up. So when you're trying to do this, you should be trying to push your stomach down. This gap in your back, you're trying to push down to the floor. What you don't want to do is end up arching. Okay, don't want your back to come off the ground. So really try to push it down. Some people put their hands underneath their bum, so it pushes their back down for them. So from here, you can put your hands underneath your bum. From there, lifting up, back down. That might be better for you. To do it like that might help you. If not, another way of doing it, legs up straight together, drop down one leg, back up, other side down, back up. Okay, really try and push that stomach down. You might say, oh Chris, that one's too easy, but if you take the tempo nice and slow, and really push through your stomach towards the floor, so your stomach's tight, to really suck it in, you can feel it working, okay? And what that'll do, that'll strengthen your lower stomach muscles so much more than if you're doing these ones and you're not feeling the thing. If you do it like this, your back's arching, not feeling your stomach, you're not going to gain anything, okay? So you might be better off just doing the one-legged exercises, okay? I hope that answers you. Who have we got next? Anybody else? Anybody else with us want to ask a question about any exercise? It could be just that you want to try and banter me and keep making me do more exercises, or it could be that you're actually interested in an exercise and you want to learn how to do it easier or even how to do it harder. Okay, so some people might want an easier option, but some people might want a harder option. If you want a harder option, let me know and I'll show you that. Got any tips? Oh, hold on. And first, how do I stop feeling like I'm using my neck, shoulders when I'm trying to do sit-ups? Okay. So usually, when people do sit-ups and they feel it in their neck and shoulders, I'll be honest, it's usually because these muscles might have given up. You might be doing too many exercises in a row on the stomach. I know in our classes we might do like 5 or 6 exercises in a row on stomach exercises, but when this area starts to fatigue, your back takes over, neck takes over, you might be pulling on your head too hard rather than using this. So a way that you can do it is you want to just keep your I like to keep my focus. My hands are on my head, but I'm not pulling on my head, okay? So don't pull on your head, that's going to hurt your neck. Don't also hold your head up so you're here, that's not good for your neck either. So what I'm going to do is keep your neck nice and strong in line with your body, a little bit of support for your head. But for me, I'm picking a spot up there, so I'm looking at a tree, top of the tree, I'm keeping my eyes on it. I'm trying to use my stomach muscles rather than pulling forward with my head, okay? If your neck's hurting while you're doing these, you might be better off just picking that spot and going for crunches. Or what you can do if you want to practice your sit up but you can't get up without hurting your neck, use your legs, pull on them, that's fine. And slowly lower yourself back down. Okay, so you can use your legs to pull up, slowly lower yourself back down. You'll be much stronger going that way. Okay, so much stronger going down. So that's a way you can do that. Try not to pull on the neck, not good. Okay, what we got? Jamie Knights, any tips for loosening the lower back? Seems to be hurting when I run. So when you run, it could be the impact, so it could be too much impact. It might be, Jamie, I don't know what you do for work, but it could be that sitting down might have made things tight. For me, my back suffers the most when my hips are tight, quads are tight. Okay, so just trying to loosen off. To be fair, lots of things you can do. Before you run, you can walk for a few minutes, do some stretches. Simple stretches are like knees hugging into chest. So for example, hugging your knees in. Just try and get the lower back nice and loose. From there, you can drop your legs side to side. So you're really trying to stretch out that lower back. But for me, I've had years of back pain. I did all those stretches, hundreds of back stretches. I found my back's actually quite flexible. And for me, it's more my hips. My hips are tight. So my hips are tight, probably from playing football, kicking a ball, quads got too strong, hips get tight. So for me, I had to lengthen my quads and my hips for my back pain to go away. And the reason for that is when your hips are tight here, they're pulling your pelvis forwards, which isn't good. Okay, so then you create that curve in your back, an excessive curve. So Jamie, I know you play football as well, and you have done for quite a few years. So for you, it could be just simple as quad stretches, so trying to lengthen the quads. Okay, it's trying to make these muscles longer. It could be hip flexors, so you're leaning forwards here. From this position, going forwards, trying to get the hip flexor working. You tense your glute, try and get the hip flexor working. That can lengthen that muscle group. Okay, I know, like I said, I know for me it was quads and hips. As soon as I managed to lengthen my quads and hips, back pain has been so much better, especially during running. It doesn't seem to be a problem for me at the moment. So for me, it was a mixture of quad stretching, hip stretching. I still recommend the lower back stretches, but for me, my lower back was okay. It was quite flexible. It was more, this area was having a knock-on effect. Okay, so that could be something you can try. Okay, let's have a look. When doing an exercise, why do you sometimes lift your head and sometimes keep it down? Gus, abs. Not sure what you mean, Gus, really. When doing exercise, why do you sometimes lift your head there? Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I see what you mean. So, say when you're doing like an ab exercise, you might find that sometimes this is actually it's not a bad suggestion. Instead of leg raises, you keep your legs on the floor, lifting up and down. From here, I'm not involving my neck or my shoulders, so I'm really trying to focus on using these muscle groups in my stomach. But say, similar to what Ross asked, okay, similar question, lower back, what you can do, you can bring your head and shoulders off the floor, chin to chest, and you might find that keeps you in a stronger position. So from here, looking through your legs, as long as it doesn't pull on your neck, you might find that helps to keep your abs down to there. So I'm looking through nice and strong. Same with pushing my legs out and back in. Same with here, I'm keeping my head up, which keeps my core involved. But what I might go here, all the way back, and then what I'm doing here is I'm extending the range of my stomach. So further I reach back here, I'm lengthening these muscles, and then I'm coming back up. So I'm lengthening these muscles, coming back up. So it's just a different way of doing it, really. There's lots of reasons to do head up, head down. It just depends on the reason. The main reason would be here, core is always engaged, but it's not lengthened the whole way. So my core is always engaged. Less chance hurting my back. Here, if I go all the way back up, my core has been lengthened, so it's got longer. And when you come to this position, you risk arching the back. Okay, so you might keep your head up to make sure your back stays down. But then if you're really strong in here, you might want to really reach back, and then you're working the muscle full range all the way back in rather than in short contractions, okay? Who else have we got? Anne, thanks, no problem. Jamie Knights, no problem. Jamie, feel free to message me if you want to ask a bit more about that, because my back was killing me for a long time. It seems to be doing all right. Caroline Stewart, should we do those stretches to loosen hips before running as well, or just after? It depends, Caroline. It depends. If you've got certain injury problems, what I would say is that, for Jamie as well, is that those exercises, I would do them as part of your cool down routine and do them daily if you can, just to try and loosen up the hips and make your hips more flexible rather than every time before you run. You shouldn't really stretch cold muscles, but you can do light stretching during the day, and after a workout you might do some heavier stretches just to really get into the areas. So would I do the hip stretches before I run? No, I wouldn't. I'll do some dynamic stretches maybe, just like we do in classes. I might go for a walk for a bit, and I might just, start pulling in here, kicking the legs forwards, open up the hips, just trying to get everything moving. I might even run just for 400 meters or so, and then I might stop and do a few stretches if I've got some certain areas, like my calves might be tighter than usual. I might know that, or my quads might be tighter. But I wouldn't specifically do loads of stretches before going for a run unless you had some sort of injury or problem. Then you probably find that dynamic stretches would be better. So hips up, pushing back from the hips, kicking forwards with the legs, open the hips up. If it's on your calves, it might be that you're just doing a few calf raises to get your calves working rather than static stretching. Gus, no problem. Moira, alternatives to star jumps and side plank raises. Okay, star jumps. So there is other ways to do star jumps. I'm not too great at these. My coordination's terrible, but you can do them differently. So what people do first of all is star jumps. They always think like these big star jumps like this, which you might not like that so much. So you can take the impact down just by making small, very small steps. Doesn't have to be big. Okay, so very small steps. Or you can, from standing, you can step out here, step out there. So that's getting your heart rate up, okay, rather than jumping about. So you can do star jumps like this. You can make the step bigger, so you can step out to the side. You can make the step smaller, so there could be small ones. But here you're still getting a star jump, but without the impact, okay? So there's other ways of doing it. I'd say if you hate the impact of it, you might be able to just make it a little bit lighter. Okay, so you might be able to make it a little bit lighter. You can go for the alternative, doing it like that instead. Looks like I'm dancing, but I'm not. No music here. So side plank raises. Side plank raise. Try to see what a side plank raise could be. I don't know if you mean leg raise or if you mean just holding a side plank. But a side plank position could be, this is a side plank. Normally you hold it like this. Okay, so that's a side plank. Nice and strong, hands up in the air maybe. You can see a hand. If you're in the right position, you can see your hand when you look up. If you're in the wrong position, leaning forwards, my hand's out here, and it should be back there. My body's too far forward, side plank, on the side, hand up. If I make it easier, bend the knees from here, push up on the knee. This position's still straight, you can still see I'm straight there. Less pressure because I've got my knees on the floor and feet on the floor. Okay, so that's the way I can hold a side plank with it being less pressure on that position. Okay, I'm not sure if I've answered your question there, Moira, but if you want to ask any more about the side plank raises that you mentioned, please feel free. Anybody else? What are we on? 35 minutes, it's not bad. So 35 minutes of just showing you different exercises, the way you can alternate alternatives to exercises that we usually do. Emily Catherine, so helpful. No problem, Emily. No problem, Moira. Hopefully that's answered your question. Those two different plank exercises, one with the knees, one without the knees. You can still do your legs up at the top, or you're dipping down, up and down. Okay. So what I've been talking about with people is, I started off with 5 exercises that we do in our classes that are quite common: plank, press ups, mountain climbers, crawl outs and burpees chest to floor, and how we can make them easier and how we can make them harder. Okay, and now we've gone through quite a few exercises that people have asked for easier versions. We've done lunges. So for lunges, I'd recommend a reverse lunge, probably better if you've got bad knees. We've talked about side planks. We've talked about leg raisers. We've talked about stretching for the back. We've talked about sit-ups, how to make them harder, how to make them easier. So if anybody else has any questions about any exercises, 35 minutes, almost a workout this. We trained today. Another thing, if you are watching, we are doing now 14 classes a week online. If you want to get involved, let me know. 14 online classes, they're all live. There is a reason we keep them live. Some people do ask, oh, do you record them? Can you send them to me? But there's a reason we do that, is because we keep them live rather than send them to you, because we want people to turn up at the times. We want people to be accountable. We want people to wake up and go, right, I've got 9:30 hit today, or I've got 12:30 hit today. I've got boxing tonight at 6:15. I've got Zumba tonight at 6:15. That way it's in their schedule. Whereas if they wake up in the morning and go, I'm going to do that live at Chris done today, I'll do it tonight because that's when I'm free. Usually people get to tonight and they sit down and go, oh, I can't be bothered with that now. And they leave it and they miss out on their exercise. So the reason we have a timetable and we keep it all live is because we want it to be live at the time. We want you to show up almost in person like you would if you were going to the gym. It keeps it more real. Also, with all our classes, we try and help everyone in there. If anyone messages us, we help them out. We're real life personal trainers trying to help people. We're not an automated machine or a robot or a film that was made a month ago. Okay, I think we're done, it looks like. Anybody else? Any more exercises that you'd like to see? Alternatives for? I have realised that I'm about a minute ahead of you, so you never know. Okay, looks like that's it. So what I'll do, this post will obviously go onto our Facebook. If you know anyone that needs to have a look at this, send it to them. If you want to ask any questions, message me and I might do a video on it. But tomorrow I'm going to do a video, same time. So tomorrow at 7:15, same time, I'm going to do a video on five ways to help yourself recover after training. Okay, so what we had was, when lockdown happened, we put all our classes online. Suddenly everyone was doing a class every day. Sometimes people were doing 2 classes a day. And what happens then? I've experienced it myself. You might suffer a bit of burnout. You might get a bit tired. You might find your legs are killing you. You might lose your motivation. So there is things you can do that if you are starting to train harder and more often, there's things you can work on that will help you get more out of your sessions, but also help you to recover better, which means that potentially you can do more sessions. So the better you recover, the more sessions you can do and the fitter you become, the more you make of your time during the session. When you turn up to a session and you aren't feeling great, you might not get much out of it, but if you turn up to a session feeling 100%, feeling fresh from just doing a few things, you might find you have an amazing session, your fitness levels increase so much quicker. Okay, so tomorrow, same time, I'll be talking about 5 things you can do to help with your recovery in your day-to-day life, okay? So thank you very much for watching. Any comments after this has been done, put them in and I will answer questions, okay? Thank you very much. Have a good evening and I'll see you soon.